Let's bring in Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs. Congressman, I'm not going to make you talk about Gavin Newsom eating cow pie in South Carolina. I do want to talk about Amnesty. President Trump and Brooke Rollins, the Agriculture Secretary, both talking about that. They're very concerned, obviously, about the reaction to the way they were discussing making sure farmers had enough workers, had enough labor. But how do you fill those jobs then with Americans? And I made the point, 18.5 million people on Medicaid will be subject to work requirements. It's a quarter of total Medicaid recipients. And more than 6 out of 10 able-bodied Medicaid recipients before the big, beautiful law had no earned income. Is that how we fill those jobs?
That's one way you're going to fill those jobs. Don't forget, we've lost 5 million foreign workers and gained more than 2 million American workers in the last few months. And that's what happens when you actually remove people from the country who aren't supposed to be here. There should be no amnesty. The other thing that happens is when you provide cheap labor, what happens is you obviate the need for automation and innovation. And that's what happens. And that's what's happening. By supplying cheap labor, we're not innovating. We're not doing everything we possibly can to mechanize and get other people out there. So we've got a lot of people who aren't working. We've got a lot of people that could work and a lot of people who should be working. But the bottom line is you cannot give amnesty, because if you start giving amnesty, then you actually get rid of the rule of law. You set that aside, and in a state without the rule of law can't be a free state.
Okay, but Congressman, maybe amnesty is not the right word if we're talking about people who are here illegally, maybe came years ago, but since then have been law-abiding, productive citizens, understanding that there are reforms you want for the long term, whether it's automation on the farm or whether we're talking about moving people off government benefit programs. Right now, farmers saying the crop needs to come in. This is a very tight labor market. Is there an argument to say people who have been here working hard and are needed in the fields should continue to do that for now?
Two things. If you have a scarcity of labor here, it's because we've provided massive welfare programs so people don't get out and work hard. Number two, if you start saying that we're going to say that people who are illegally in the country, I mean, what you think what that means? They violated the law. They violated a criminal law. And we're going to say, if you were here enough time, we're going to go ahead and grant you some kind of dispensation. I mean, this is really hardcore stuff, it may sound like, but let's consider any other activity that's considered a crime. Are you then telling me that if you committed a crime 20 years ago, if it's still within the statute of limitations, then we're going to say, okay, no problem. And that's the issue that you have here. And then what is the third thing is, what's equitable? Is it equitable to say to my neighbors, and I have neighbors who've gone through this, I've had people who've worked through me who've gone through this, and they've gone through literally years and spent tens and tens of thousands of dollars to gain legal citizenship and come in the right way. So you're going to say it's equitable to come in here the wrong way and hide out and avoid capture. And that's going to work out for you better than for these people that are spending 10, 15 years in line, spending thousands of dollars. That's really inequitable in my opinion.
And now, before we move on, I just want to point out, and Secretary Rollins mentioned this, they are working on the H-2A visa program. Anybody who's ever grown up in a farming community, raising my hand right here, we know how it works. It's a 1-year temporary visa, and it is quite generous. It has grown by leaps and bounds. It fills about 20% of the nation's farm workers. 1 year, it can go up to 3 years. It gets renewed. And the farmers can get qualified workers if they can't fill the jobs with American workers. And it's grown, I think it's grown 3 times more. It's tripled since 2014. So the Secretary the Secretary of Labor is working with Lori Chavez-DeRemer on that. But moving on to this, Joe Biden's doctor, Congressman, has tried to delay his appearance before the House Oversight Committee. How is he going to get away with this? The auto pen scandal is something that should matter to every single American.
Yeah, again, here's a guy, he's been given the subpoena, and now he wants to avoid his subpoena because he wants to prepare a whole series of special exemptions for himself. So he wants to claim that he's got immunity from testifying, but there is no immunity right here. And he's going to have to come in and he's going to have to answer. According to oversight lawyers and counsel we received, he needs to come in. And if he doesn't come in on time when he's supposed to be there, then he's in contempt of Congress. And now we finally have an AG in there who will actually prosecute one of these guys who fails to show up. And that's what may happen here with Dr. O'Connor. So he better be there. And his options really are going to be to take the fifth, or he's going to have to tell the truth. That's really the bottom line for him.
Congressman Andy Biggs, great to see you, sir. Always.
Thank you.